Welcome to GOLT Talk, your podcast for technology and innovation in the legal profession. If you're searching for solutions to revolutionize your legal practice, you're in the right place. 10 minutes pure, actionable product insights from CEOs shaping the future of legal technology. And here is your host, Tom Pfennig.
Welcome to GOLT Talk, your podcast for innovation and technology in the legal and compliance space. 10 minutes, pure, actionable insights from CEOs shaping the future of legal and technology. My name is Tom, I'm your host, and today I warmly welcome Shashank Bijapur. He is the CEO of SpotDraft, based out of New York City, and he's splitting his time between Bangalore in India and United States. Shashank, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the GOLT Talk, and I'm looking forward to an insightful exchange. Welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me over. I'm excited to our conversation today.
Same here. So let's get started. We always have a dense format, but before we dive into the key questions that the audience is always asking, give me a few words about yourself, about your journey as a founder, entrepreneur, and CEO.
I have an interesting journey where I'm actually a recovering lawyer by background. So, my last stint was at White & Case in New York. And at some point while working there, I realized that cars were driving themselves and I was still copying, pasting words on a contract. So, I was at a Diwali party and I bumped into someone who was the only other non-designer at that party, which was my co-founder Madhav. And that's sort of where the story of SpotDraft started, where, we were looking at, innovation that lawyers had seen over the last 20, 30 years. And it appeared that ever since track changes was introduced to Word, nothing had moved. That sort of kickstarted why SpotDraft should exist, because lawyers' work was slow, expensive, and potentially error-prone. And we started SpotDraft in 2017, right after that.
Excellent. So 8 years in the making, you're not a new kid on the block. You have had a lot of experience, and we are both qualified lawyers, so we know how tedious it can be to draft and review contracts. So that gives me the perfect segue to ask the very important question: what makes SpotDraft unique? We are in a category that's quite busy. Let's put it this way. A lot of questions, why to go with you and not others. This is the opportunity to give the audience some of the unique selling points of SpotDraft and some of the unique use cases of your solution.
Yeah, so great question. And I answer that with everyone with one single thing. We are great value for money. So SpotDraft is a true end-to-end contract automation platform, and it pretty much touches every single point right from quote until that quote turns into cash. So it is built by lawyers for lawyers. It is flexible as a system, and it fits every budget and grows with the team.
To be a bit more concrete for those who may really start the journey and they have chaos in the house. Contracts is a monster and I want to tame it. So I go with SpotDraft solution, and give me the typical starting point and the initial value that I am receiving from your product.
So the initial starting point is we go and understand what the customer's requirements are and what are the key outcomes that they're looking to drive. And then what's common to 100% of our customers is there is some legacy contract sitting somewhere. So we pull that in, extract all key details. So now you know who is it with, what is it for, when does it start and end, and the key things that you need from those contracts. Which also means now you can start doing searches like show me contracts that has Tom as the counterparty and the applicable law is not the state of New York. Now that becomes pretty easy to do. You can run reports. Second, we take your most used contracts and templatize them, which means that every contract need not come to lawyers for approvals and review. Only the exceptions come. And there's a lot of self-serve that business teams can see. So you start seeing that. So, we integrate with your Salesforce or any other CRM that's there, and they may be filling up a opportunity there. And what comes in return when they say get a contract is a contract pretty much in seconds. So we templatize that. And we also set up, you can set up workflows and conditions. If contract value is greater than X, include the following two clauses, send it to Tom for approvals and Shashank for signatures. That gets automated. It leaves an audit trail, and it has all the good stuff that you require for contract editing and review, which means version control, running track changes compared against different versions, collaborating internally. And you can do all of this within the familiar environment of Word. So that's what it does. And then finally, sending it to signatures. We've got our own signature platform. So you can sign, store, send it, or we integrate with DocuSign and Adobe Sign, any other e-signature platform that you use. Now, because all of this is happening on the platform, you get rich analytics, and also the entire review process is AI driven, which means that moment a new version comes in, it summarizes it, gives you a heat map and tells you what is it that you actually need to focus on, and takes that entire contract creation, drafting, analysis process from days to minutes.
Excellent. That's really helpful. In essence, it really covers those entities that start at the very beginning, have really no consolidated contracts platform, as well as those who have already done some of the initial homework and are now trying to set up the workflows, identify the bottlenecks, decision makers, and really scale efficiency. So the ideal client profile, Shashank, is there any differentiator between smaller, mid-sized companies, corporates, law firms, or are you really targeting the entire legal ecosystem?
So we are focused on the in-house teams, and that is where we add the most amount of value. But we work across different segments. So you could be a 500-person company or a 10,000-person company. SpotDraft scales and it's priced accordingly as well, which means you don't have to pay for the entire thing. As a 500-person company, you may require a smaller module. If you're a multinational 10,000-person company, then there are additional modules that you can procure. It scales with the company and it works across the board. Your contracts could be in dusty old folders, or you may be using another CLM. You could still fit into the SpotDraft ecosystem.
Okay, that's an interesting point, because that's actually what I hear in the market quite a bit. You guys are usually not the first one through the door. There has been some technology licensed and either people want to change or they want to add. So in this very scenario where you say we come in on top, how does this really work? Is this making sense at all to have two parallel software vendors in a house, or would you rather go and then ultimately substitute a legacy system in its entirety?
So we actually substitute the legacy system in its entirety. We typically advise our customers not to split their contracts in different places. It just adds to the confusion and of course the cost and time of managing and maintaining it. We typically have, interestingly, only 20% of our customers have a prior CLM or legacy system in place. 80% are pretty much greenfield, and that means they could be using a general purpose system to do a very specific task. It could be on Google Drive, it could be on SharePoint, and they've put some forms together to run that. Or it could be a highly specialized but clunky old system that takes years to implement, and it's very inflexible. So we fit both these use cases well.
That's the final question in this first part about use cases and unique selling points. I have heard of companies where the implementation of a CLM tool took years and the happiness factor diminished by the day. So when I hear the word templatize, it looks like you guys are having software that gives me some traction to not having to filter all the different contracts and do the templatization or standardization myself. Is that a correct understanding of SpotDraft's capabilities?
Yeah, in fact, 70% of SpotDraft can be used within a couple of hours with getting the system. So you've got a shiny new car, you want to take it for a spin, you can do that. We get all your users in, we set out the roles and permissions that are there, or it gets imported from any other system that you use, and you can start using it. The entire process of creating a workflow obviously is consultative, so it takes anywhere from a week to 6 weeks, and most of it depends on how prepared the customer is. And finally, the import of historical contracts, again, depending on volume, can range from a week to 4 to 6 weeks. The idea is within 6 weeks of getting your shiny new car, you can take it for a full spin and within 2 hours, you can pretty much do most things that require you to get started.
I had not heard the analogy. I like it a lot. It's resonating well. Shifting to partners and competitors, Shashank. I think many competitors have Microsoft Word plugins. That's almost a given. You confirm it, please, hopefully. But give us a bit more detail. Who are you working with, especially on the enterprise IT architecture, and who are you competing against?
So one of the things that's the beauty of SpotDraft is our customers tell us that this is a very malleable and flexible system, which means it doesn't matter what system you use. We've partnered with, of course, the Salesforce, SAPs of the world. We have a Microsoft Word integration so that your Word works out of the box. We work with pretty much all the cloud players, and we have partnerships with any other allied systems that you may use, like maybe e-signature platform on one end, or a storage or a data lake on the other side. We've partnered with all of them. So SpotDraft currently has over about 80 odd integrations that are there. And I do not recall a time when we said we could not integrate with a system that you have. So it is flexible in that way. Who does SpotDraft compete with? We compete with most of the CLMs that you see out there in the market, which means Ironclad, LinkSquares, and then DocuSign. These three are companies that our customers compare us to.
Very good. And just going back to the unique or ideal client profile, the in-house legal departments that you are going after, you said could be a small team, could be a 500 people strong legal department. There is really a fitting tool to every size of the organization, just to also get this out of the way.
Yeah, so instead of the legal team, I'll talk about the size of the org. Typically, SpotDraft works best for 500 employees to about 7,000 employees. That's our sweet spot. If you're going, on a trip with 50 people, you need a bus. But if you're going on a trip with your family, you need a small car. So every CLM fits a certain bill. And for us, this is where we shine the most, and that's where our customers are.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And this is really the gist of what I hear also. People want to know, where is your sweet spot? Am I fitting or am I not fitting? Because there is no size fits all. Thank you for this clarification, Shashank.
Just to add one more thing. Most people think that if this is a more mid-market focused product, does it have the right security? Is it fully built out? We are enterprise grade with a customer look and feel and interface. And that is what SpotDraft sets you apart. All the features that you would want and all the security that you want in an enterprise grade system, but it's made to look and feel in a way that's simple to use, easy to understand, and a joy to work.
And I think all these attributes are really critical, because we all know the ease of use is determinative of the adoption and the implementation. People don't want a Ferrari. They would like to have a nice little Chevrolet or whatever analogy fits here, which gets them going. And then obviously you can accelerate and upgrade as you go along the way. Thanks. Moving on to implementation and pricing. It's also sensitive, but it's really critical. As I said, there is some sentiment in the market that it takes a long time to get an organization CLM ready. So companies like yours that are fast and furious and really generate traction, not just within the legal department, but beyond, are having an edge. Give us some insights, please. Implementation speed at SpotDraft and also pricing tiers.
Yeah, so when we started SpotDraft, we said we looked into the market and we asked people who used other CLMs saying, what went right, what went wrong. And overwhelming 90% of the times when things went wrong, they went wrong because of two reasons. First was it was poorly implemented, and second was it was poorly adopted. And at SpotDraft, we've taken the guesswork out of it. Most implementation happens, like I said, within 6 weeks. We either do it ourselves or we do it with a very select few partners who are handpicked, personally trained, whose work we oversee. So the chances of failure are negligible. And we also ensure that we just don't leave you there. We ensure that there is adoption. We go in and do trainings. We do unlimited free trainings for the entire team to make sure that they get onboarded. And we work with you to make sure that department by department, vertical by vertical, everybody starts using SpotDraft and frees up time from the mundane work that you're doing.
That's something I want to repeat, endless trainings. That's really critical. I've seen it in my own experience. You can't just assume that you put this car in front of people and everyone starts driving it. You want to have the license and you want to pass the test. So that's a phenomenal value added to your client base, and I want to call it out. Really cool. Also on the implementation side, you said you are supervising, you're overseeing the implementation partners. Just to clarify this, these are people from within SpotDraft and or external partners as well.
So we work with very select few external partners and partners who know our ecosystem really well, and they understand the value proposition that we bring in. These are experts not just in SpotDraft as a system, but also in legal and legal ops in general. It's important that it's not one size fits all. Not one product is going to fit every use case. So they know what needs to change in the product, how it needs to be implemented, and also what perhaps a few changes that need to happen in processes of companies so that it works well as a seamless ecosystem.
Super. And pricing, Shashank. Save the best for last.
So let me put it this way. We're called value for money because we are not exorbitantly priced, and we are priced for the value that you get. Typically, on the lower end, our pricing starts at about $25,000 per year as ARR, which is annual price that you pay. Then as you scale, it depends on how big the implementation is. It does not scale linearly. As you grow bigger, it does get cheaper on a per unit cost as well.
But it's a good floor, and I really appreciate the transparency, as the viewers will as well. As we said, there is a sweet spot that you serve, and that would give me also some predictability what my annual license fee is going to be. And then, as I understand it correctly, if I have a larger organization to serve, then you would also calculate on a per seat basis, but it would not be a linear increase.
Correct. We don't calculate per seat basis. We in fact calculate on usage, which is number of documents. And it does turn out to be much cheaper than having per seat. And it also ensures that everybody in the org uses it as opposed to a select few seats, and it ensures better adoption. So from a cost of ownership comparison, we will be absolute value for money when compared to some of our competition.
That's awesome and very helpful. And of course, if there is people watching this podcast wanting to know more, transparency will increase and there will be quotes that can be compared to competitors. So with that, I must say 20 fast-moving, very insightful minutes. I'm sure we could touch upon many more features. There is AI in SpotDraft. This has been built for almost a decade, so really a lot of user feedback built into the tool. With that, I'd say thank you very much, Shashank. Shashank Bijapur, the CEO of SpotDraft, based in New York, but also in Bangalore, India. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the openness. Thanks for the transparency. This was a very insightful podcast. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Bye-bye.